Hey all, so part 2 of the lowrider wagon build. Plans for today are to finish up all of the details. I built this enough last time that the front steering all functions, but I need to clean up the various parts a little bit, like these pieces that are holding the spindles need to just be neatened up and shaped up so they look prettier. I need to cut off the axles and put axle nuts on. I need to just round up and clean up this bar and this one, and then I've got to put proper hardware in everywhere so that this is all permanently in place, though I'm now realizing I forgot to buy some 5/16 Nylox nuts, so it'll be almost done, but that'll be a like 5-second thing to swap those once I get it. And then I need to finish modifying this plate so that it can secure itself there and both hide this mechanism and give me a place to put the handle. And then I'm going to need to modify and or lengthen the handle to make it more usable. Once that's all done, then I need to slap some rear wheels on it, see where it sits stance-wise, to see whether I need to raise the rear end on it or whether I just need to tweak it a little bit to push the wheels out a little. Because right now, where I built it when I finished this the first time, which wasn't on film, the rear wheels when I was finished rubbed very slightly on the body. So I may be able to just space them out a little bit if the height's right. If it's not, then I'm going to have to redesign the rear axle a little bit. I knew that Lowe's had these little axle caps, which are the very simple sort of sombrero type that will absolutely work to hold the wheels on, but don't look very interesting. I got these for the back axle. I was super happy to find out they have the pretty little chrome like cap ones, so those are going to look great on the front. The back I'm not worried about because it's got hubcaps that cover the other ones, but these will look really pretty on the front, and that's a nice little bonus. So that's the plan for today. I'm hoping to have this 100% done aside from paint by the end of today. So let's get to it. All right, and the front end is done. Again, haven't painted it because I want to test it first, and I need to get nylock nuts for these 3 nuts right here, but I don't have those right now. I thought I'd grab them, I didn't. Other than that, we're all done here. Wheels are on, got my little caps on to hold them on with the washer. This is bolted on. You may or may not have been obvious in the time lapse, but what I did was tighten these down until they bound and then loosen them just a little bit so that everything moves pretty freely. Finished modifying this plate. So a couple things happened here. One, I wanted this bolt to be in from this side because it's still pretty high up, but this would be the lowest spot, so I didn't want a bolt sticking out if I could avoid it. So I ran the bolt up, which means it's in here, and then I cut it off on top of the nylock nut. So then I welded to the piece that's bolted to, I welded a tube here so that this upper plate is captured by this bolt going through the handle, through this upper plate, through that tube, holds the lower piece of the upper piece at the front, and then in the back here I just realized I want to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to do that at another point though, I think, because I just don't want to but this over here I trimmed back because it used to stick out about that far. I trimmed that all back, tried to make that as neat as possible, cut this so that it tucks into there. Then this bolt, there's a nut on the underside of it, like right on the other side of it, which acts as a spacer in this U channel, and it goes through this, has a nylon washer, goes through this panel, has another nylon washer, and a nut at the bottom, so that these are locked in. So this is the original sort of tongue of the wagon, so I get to sort of have that original piece here but integrated into all the new stuff. The handle needs to be lengthened. There's a couple ways I can do that. I can replace this entire tube, I can sleeve it. I haven't figured it out. It's going to kind of depend on what I've got for stock, because I don't want to go out and buy just another piece of tube at this point because I'm so close to done. So the next thing I need to do with this is get it on the ground, get some wheels on the back of it, and see where it sits. I want it to sit level or just a little bit high in the back. Not a lot high in the back, because I'm actually going to be using this for carrying stuff at the swap meet, so I don't want everything to just fall out the front. But we're going to see where that is and see where the axle is width-wise, if I can get those caps on the ends of it, with some washers to space the back wheels out, because again, the back wheels rub the tub very slightly. If they don't fit, then I'm going to have to do a little bit of modifying. If they do fit, then great, and we're going to go from there. I'm so close to done on this. I'm so happy. This has been hanging on the wall for an embarrassingly long amount of time, and now I'm finally inches away from done. So yeah, let's actually just, you know what? All right, and there it is stance-wise. Let's see. Yeah, it's nose down by a little bit in the front, I think. I think that'll do me, height-wise. I don't feel the need to raise the back up. I don't feel the need to lower it down. So yeah, now I just have to finish tweaking the back axle so that they don't rub, and see where that puts me. See if I need to cut a new back axle or not. And then we'll be done. And now I have a longer axle. I suddenly realized I was about to do all this modifying here to accommodate the fact that this axle is about 1/2 inch too short. And then I realized that was dumb. I'm very glad I realized that. So what I just did, what you just watched there, was I took a piece that I already had and the last little leftover bit and heavily chamfered both edges so I'd have a nice deep V, put them into that piece of L channel to keep them aligned, and then very carefully welded and filled in that V to weld them together. And then I ground it back down to the right diameter so it fit into here. Now, if I just wanted to make it like, the obvious thing to do would be to like just make it exactly longer, but that would put the weld basically right at the point here of, it would put the weld right at the point of greatest stress right here. But since I added the full length, the weld is now somewhere around here and is protected from some of the worst of the stresses it's going to encounter. So what I'm going to do now is put a wheel on this end, clean this end up, put a wheel on it, with the right washers, and then I can trim this end to a proper length. And then that should finish this right up, and I'll be good to go. All right, and we are done. Wagon is built and functional. I just took it for its first test drive, as it were, and it works exactly like I'd hoped. I'm still going to tweak it to make the steering a little tighter. Its turning radius is still bigger than I like, but yeah, it is rock solid. I jumped up and down in it. It didn't care. The steering works just fine. It'll work even better once it's been greased and tweaked a little bit, but I am over the friggin' moon about this project. This came out exactly the way I wanted it to look. The handle does fold flatter. It just looked cooler up. And yeah, cool. I'm gonna have so much fun with this at the swap meet this weekend. So that's it for the wagon project for now. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.